One of the most impactful players in the NBA this season is coming off the bench and barely anybody is talking about him. Jaime Jaquez Jr. doesn't force the game, he controls it every single night, dictating Miami's offensive possessions, breaking down defenses, and making winning plays that don't always show up on the highlight reel. This season, Jaime isn't just producing, he's filling in the playmaker role for the Miami Heat. When he checks into the game, the offense settles. When defenses overplay, he punishes them going downhill for easy buckets or getting kickouts to open teammates. And when the moment gets big, he doesn't shy away from it. He's scoring at a career best rate, doing most of his damage inside the paint with elite efficiency, taking minimal threes and still putting up nearly 16 points a game. At this point in the season, he's showing everybody he's not just a good bench player. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is one of the top 6 Man of the Year candidates in the entire league with a very real chance to take that award home. Welcome to Sleeping on the Clock. If they're sleeping on it, we're speaking on it. To really understand why Jaime Jaquez Jr. is in the 6 Man of the Year conversation this year, you have to look beyond the surface and focus on how he's producing, because this season isn't just about volume, it's about efficiency and being a star in your own role. Jaime is nearly at 16 points per game this year while coming off the bench, and he's not doing it by dominating the ball or living behind the 3-point line. In fact, he's taking very few threes compared to most wings across the league putting up similar numbers. Instead, he's living off scoring in the paint with strong drives, finishes in traffic, and knocking down mid-range turnaround jump shots. That versatility and physicalness matters, because when defenses can't cheat on him, they can't take any plays off. They can't just run him off the line and live with Jaime going downhill. He's making them pay in various different ways. And what really stands out is how controlled everything looks this season. He's not forcing shots, he's picking his spots and punishing opponents' mistakes. That's why his efficiency has jumped and his impact feels consistent night after night. This is a player who understands his role and plays to his strengths, and that's been the foundation for everything else he's doing this season. He is elite at getting downhill with no wasted dribbles, no dancing on the perimeter, and just no overthinking. When he sees an opening, he goes. When he sees a smaller defender, he attacks. And when help comes, he makes the right pass. His strength, footwork, and balance make him hard to stop when he's coming at you. And once he touches the paint, he finishes through contact with ease or creates an advantage for his teammates. Jaime's constant downhill pressure collapses defenses, and Miami feeds off of that. But another part of Jaime's game that he doesn't get talked about enough is his mid-range shot making. Because when defenses start cutting off those downhill lanes, Jaime doesn't panic. He doesn't reset the possession. He doesn't force any bad passes. He goes right to the in-between game with short pull-ups, turnaround jumpers, or straight physical post work. That mid-range package is what makes him so hard to scheme against. You can't just sit in the paint. You can't just sell out on drives, because the moment you do, he's comfortable with backing defenders down and knocking down a clean look. And that matters, especially in late games. When possessions slow down and the paint gets crowded, having a scorer who can create a quality look without needing a screen becomes invaluable. Jaime's mid-range game gives Miami a pressure release. It keeps the defense honest, and it makes his downhill game even more dangerous. And what really elevates Jaime's season is the growth of his playmaking. Jaime's averaging career best assist numbers with almost 5 assists per game, and the passes he's making aren't bailouts. They're reads made on time, in rhythm, and with purpose. He's finding shooters out of the paint, hitting cutters when help steps up, and making quick decisions before the defense can even recover. That's why his scoring efficiency hasn't dipped as his responsibilities have grown. He's not forcing the offense, he's creating it. He's not just a scorer, he's a connector. There are possessions where Jaime is basically the glue holding everything together, and that's why you're seeing him handle the ball more, sometimes even as the primary initiator. He understands spacing, he understands timing, and most importantly, he understands when not to force the issue. That's not something you see or hear a lot about from young players, especially those coming off the bench. As good as Jaime Jaquez Jr. has been this season, there's still one area that can take his game to a whole nother level: the 3-point shot. Right now, he doesn't really rely on it, and that's actually part of what makes him so effective. But if he can become a more consistent catch and shoot threat, everything changes. Defenders won't be able to help off of him, making closeouts harder, as driving lanes will start to open up even more. And suddenly, everything he does already well becomes way easier. The encouraging part, the foundation is already there. He's not rushing his mechanics, he's taking the right shots, and most of his attempts come within the flow of the offense. If that 3-point percentage starts to go up, you're not just talking about a great 6-man, you're talking about a complete offensive player with no obvious flaws in his scoring profile, and that's when the conversation changes entirely. This season, Miami's offense has changed. They're playing with more pace, more freedom, and making reads on the spot instead of playing in sets, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. is built just for that. He doesn't need plays called out for him to score. He thrives in broken possessions and when the defense isn't set up yet. Drop him into almost any system across the league and he'll help you win games. But in this Miami offense, he's maximizing everything that it offers. Jaime makes the right play over and over again, and that's why Coach Spo trusts Jaime enough to be in the game during the most important possessions and closing lineups. He doesn't need a specific lineup to be effective, and he doesn't need the ball every single possession. Some nights the scoring carries the impact, some other nights it's the playmaking, and sometimes it's just being the most reliable decision maker on the floor. That versatility is why his minutes scale. You can play him with the starters, you can play him with the bench, you could even play him in late game situations, and the production never falls off. He's always ready to fulfill any role the team needs. He's reading the floor in real time and forcing defenses to stay honest. And because he's so consistent, his minutes don't feel risky. You know what you're getting every single night. That reliability is what separates good bench production from being a real key player on a playoff level team. And that's where the 6th man of the year conversation starts. Coming off the bench isn't as simple as it sounds. You're entering games cold with different lineups, different rhythms, and different responsibilities every single night. Jaime handles a constant change of role with no problem. He doesn't need warm-up possessions. He doesn't need the offense to be built around him. He reads what the game needs in real time. That adaptability is a big reason his impact is able to be felt on the court. No matter who he's on the floor with, he always finds a way to help. And that's the difference between a good bench player and a truly valuable one. Because that award isn't just about points off the bench, it's about who shifts the game when they check in, and Jaime does that. He stabilizes lineups, he raises the floor, he keeps the offense organized. And when the games tighten up, he doesn't come out. Jaime Jaquez Jr. gives you scoring without compromising efficiency. He gives you playmaking without turning the ball over. He gives you physical defense without fouling or gambling. And most importantly, he gives you trust. When possessions slow down and defenses are locked in, and when every decision matters more, that's when a lot of bench players disappear. Jaime Jaquez Jr. doesn't. Late in games, Miami isn't asking him to just stand in the corner. They're trusting him to make reads and sometimes even be the point guard. Sometimes that means attacking a mismatch or just keeping the offense controlled. And that's important because late game offense isn't about speed, it's about composure. Jaime doesn't rush. He doesn't predetermine his move. He lets the defense commit first. That's why his downhill pressure still works late. And that's why Coach Spo is comfortable leaving him on the floor when the margin for error is very thin. That's not common for a player coming off the bench. Coaches don't leave bench players on the floor late unless they know the game won't fall apart. Jaime has earned that trust. And when you define what the award actually represents, which is impact, reliability, and affecting winning basketball, Jaime Jaquez Jr. isn't just in the conversation. He's a legitimate contender with a real chance to win 6th man of the year. And when the league hands out the 6th man of the year award, they're supposed to reward the player who consistently changes the game and gives their team an edge when coming off the bench. And that description fits Jaime Jaquez Jr. as well as anybody across the league. Not because of one moment, not because of one stretch, but because this has become the standard for Jaime Jaquez Jr. all season. If you made it this far, I know you have real basketball knowledge, so do me a favor, like the video if you want more basketball breakdowns like this, and subscribe to the channel so I can keep you informed and entertained with more videos of the players the world keeps sleeping on. And most importantly, drop a comment down below and tell me who I should break down next and what you think of the video. And remember, if they're sleeping on it, you already know we're speaking on it.